Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
A contact on an electrical device, such as a battery, at which electric current enters or leaves. Occurring at or forming an end or termination. Terminal leave. Station where transport vehicles load or unload passengers or goods. Either extremity of something that has length. The terminals of the anterior arches of the fornix. Causing or ending in or approaching death. A terminal patient. Electronic equipment consisting of a device providing access to a computer. Has a keyboard and display. Being or situated at an end. Terminal buds on a branch. Of or relating to or situated at the ends of a delivery route. Freight pickup as a terminal service. Relating to or occurring in a term or fixed period of time. Terminal examinations. A contact on an electrical device, such as a battery, at which electric current enters or leaves. A square rod of land. One of 2 points of intersection of the Earth's axis and the celestial sphere. Propel with a pole. Pole barges on the river. One of the 2 ends of a magnet where the magnetism seems to be concentrated. A linear measure of 16.5 feet. A long fiberglass sports implement used for pole vaulting. A long, usually round, rod of wood or metal or plastic. A native or inhabitant of Poland. Deoxidize molten metals by stirring them with a wooden pole. One of 2 antipodal points where the Earth's axis of rotation intersects the Earth's surface. One of 2 divergent or mutually exclusive opinions. They are at opposite poles. Support on poles. Pole climbing plants like beans. Occurring at or forming an end or termination. His concluding words came as a surprise. Not to be altered or undone. The judge's decision is final. An examination administered at the end of an academic term. Occurring at or forming an end or termination. The final chapter. Conclusive in a process or progression. The final answer. The final match between the winners of all previous matches in an elimination tournament. Persist for a specified period of time. The bad weather lasted for 3 days. The time at which life ends, continuing until dead. A struggle to the last. The item at the end. Last, I'll discuss family values. Not to be altered or undone. The arbiter will have the last say. Holding device shaped like a human foot that is used to fashion or repair shoes. The temporal end, the concluding time. Continue to live and avoid dying. How long can a person last without food and water? Occurring at or forming an end or termination. The last days of the dinosaurs. Conclusive in a process or progression. A last resort. Highest in extent or degree. To the last measure of human endurance. Lowest in rank or importance. Last prize. The final stage or concluding parts of an event or occurrence. I had to miss the last of the movie. A person's dying act, the final thing a person can do. He breathed his last. A unit of capacity for grain equal to 80 bushels. A unit of weight equal to 4,000 pounds. Coming after all others in time or space or degree, or being the only one remaining. The last time I saw Paris. Immediately past. Last Thursday. Most unlikely or unsuitable. The last person we would have suspected. Occurring at the time of death. His last words. The last or lowest in an ordering or series. He was the last to leave. A depository for goods. Station where transport vehicles load or unload passengers or goods. Architecture. A statue or a human bust or an animal carved out of the top of a square pillar. Originally used as a boundary marker in ancient Rome. The ultimate goal for which something is done. A place where something ends or is complete. Station where transport vehicles load or unload passengers or goods. Either end of a railroad or bus route. A piece of cloth that is left over after the rest has been used or sold. Bring to an end or halt. She ended their friendship when she found out that he had once been convicted of a crime. Be the end of. Be the last or concluding part of. This sad scene ended the movie. The state of affairs that a plan is intended to achieve and that, when achieved, terminates behavior intended to achieve it. The ends justify the means. The last section of a communication. The point in time at which something ends. The end of the year. Have an end, in a temporal, spatial, or quantitative sense, either spatial or metaphorical. My property ends by the bushes. The final stage or concluding parts of an event or occurrence. The end was exciting. A final state. He came to a bad end. Either extremity of something that has length. The end of the pier. A boundary marking the extremities of something. The end of town. A final part or section. We have given it at the end of the section since it involves the calculus. American football. A position on the line of scrimmage. No one wanted to play end. Football. The person who plays at one end of the line of scrimmage. The end managed to hold on to the pass. One of two places from which people are communicating to each other. The phone rang at the other end. Put an end to. The terrible news ended our hopes that he had survived. The part you were expected to play. He held up his end. The surface at either extremity of a three-dimensional object. One end of the box was marked, this side up. Approaching a particular destination. A coming closer. A narrowing of a gap. The ship's rapid rate of closing gave them little time to avoid a collision. The last section of a communication. Termination of operations. The act of closing something. A concluding action. Final or ending. The closing stages of the election. Of events, having extremely unfortunate or dire consequences, bringing ruin. Such doctrines, if true, would be absolutely fatal to my theory. Controlled or decreed by fate. Predetermined. A fatal series of events. Having momentous consequences, of decisive importance. The fatal day of the election finally arrived. Bringing death. The end of gestation or point at which birth is imminent. A healthy baby born at full term. Architecture. A statue or a human bust or an animal carved out of the top of a square pillar. Originally used as a boundary marker in ancient Rome. Usually plural. A statement of what is required as part of an agreement. The terms of the treaty were generous. A limited period of time. A prison term. Any distinct quantity contained in a polynomial. The general term of an algebraic equation of the nth degree. A word or expression used for some particular thing. He learned many medical terms. Name formally or designate with a term. One of the substantive phrases in a logical proposition. The major term of a syllogism must occur twice. A person who is in a position to give you special assistance. He used his business contacts to get an introduction to the governor. The physical coming together of two or more things. Contact with the pier scraped paint from the hull. A thin curved glass or plastic lens designed to fit over the cornea in order to correct vision or to deliver medication. Be in or establish communication with. He never contacted his children after he emigrated to Australia. A communicative interaction. The pilot made contact with the base. Be in direct physical contact with. Make contact. The wire must not contact the metal cover. A channel for communication between groups. The act of touching physically. Her fingers came in contact with the light switch. Electronics. A junction where things, as two electrical conductors, touch or are in physical contact. They forget to solder the contacts. Close interaction. They kept in daily contact. The state or condition of touching or of being in immediate proximity. Litmus paper turns red on contact with an acid. Electronics. A junction where things, as two electrical conductors, touch or are in physical contact. The state of being tangent. Having contact at a single point or along a line without crossing. Assigned to a station. Proper or designated social situation. The responsibilities of a man in his station. The position where someone, as a guard or sentry, stands or is assigned to stand. A sentry station. A facility equipped with special equipment and personnel for a particular purpose. He started looking for a gas station. Nautical. The location to which a ship or fleet is assigned for duty. The frequency assigned to a broadcasting station. An external body part that projects from the body. An extreme condition or state, especially of adversity or disease. That part of a limb that is farthest from the torso. The greatest or utmost degree. The extremity of despair. The outermost or farthest region or point. Equipment that involves the controlled conduction of electrons, especially in a gas or vacuum or semiconductor. The pole of a magnet that points toward the north when the magnet is suspended freely. The terminal of a battery that is connected to the positive plate. A positively charged electrode by which electrons leave an electrical device. The negatively charged terminal of a voltaic cell or storage battery that supplies current. The pole of a magnet that points toward the south when the magnet is suspended freely. The terminal of a battery that is connected to the negative plate. Terminal where trains load or unload passengers or goods. A terminal that serves air travelers or air freight. A terminal that serves bus passengers. A terminal that serves bus passengers. A terminal that serves bus passengers. A negatively charged electrode that is the source of electrons entering an electrical device. The positively charged terminal of a voltaic cell or storage battery that supplies current. A terminal that serves bus passengers. Terminal where trains load or unload passengers or goods. Terminal where trains load or unload passengers or goods. Terminal where trains load or unload passengers or goods. A terminal where subways load and unload passengers. A terminal that serves air travelers or air freight.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.